Welcome back to On the Money with financial advisor Ryan Wheelis. He's the founder of Allied Wealth. If you're hearing us on the airwaves, give us a call, 844-944-7555. Have you considered your own estate planning? Estate planning is not just for what we're leaving the family later. Life insurance doesn't necessarily cover all of your needs for your estate planning. All of that stuff you have. Do you have a business? Do you have properties? Do you have more than one child? All of these are considerations when doing your estate planning, and it baffles my brain how much people don't have this covered. They come to the live events. They want to know about their income plan. They want to hear about the taxes. They want to know about their Social Security timing. But you ask one question about any version of estate planning, they got nothing. Maybe a will. And every now and then, if somebody's got a trust, it's more likely going to make things messier than more helpful. What are the things, Ryan, that we should consider when doing estate planning?
Well, let's talk about that. That's a really good question, because let's spend some time on who doesn't need of trust. Let's start there. Okay. And folks, this is if you don't need a trust. This is important because I see people go spend $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 at the attorney's office. And sorry, bud, I know you were friends and you need business, and I appreciate sending business your way, that sort of thing. But there's sometimes people just don't need a trust. They don't. Okay. An example of that. Let's say that you've got an IRA, okay, a 401k, a Roth IRA, and those are your assets. All right. Maybe you got a little checking
house
too. Yeah, house too. Okay. So you've got a house, an IRA, 401k, Roth IRA, and some savings at the bank. Do you need a trust? Do you need a trust? And the answer is likely not. You likely don't in that situation. All right. Why is that, Spike? I mean, you know where I'm going here?
Actually, no, because I was actually going to ask, well, what about number of kids? I mean, does it matter if you have kids that you're leaving it to, or where it's going?
Let's just say it's a husband and wife team, okay, in this scenario, and both kids are healthy and same mother, father, no divorce, nothing like that. That's
okay. All right.
Hey, folks, then what Spike just asked, excuse me, is brilliant, because if it was a blended family, then the dynamics change dramatically. All right. So in this case, I'm talking about a mom and dad, been married 40 years, had 2 kids, IRA, 401k, Roth IRA, house paid for, savings account, the checking and savings account at the banks. Do they need a trust?
I guess in that limited scope, I'm going to go with no.
And you're right. The answer is I don't think they do. Okay. And this is a matter of opinion, folks. Okay. And here's why I don't feel like you do. Your IRAs, the 401k, the Roth IRA, all of those are beneficiary designated accounts. Okay. And so those avoid probate and go straight to the beneficiary. All your heirs need to have to claim those assets is a death certificate. That's it. Okay. And a form or two that the custodians that they're with to require to fill out. But other than that, that's all you need. Okay. That's what, by the way, when you have someone pass away, make sure the funeral home gives you like 20 death certificates. Okay. It's a little tip for you. All right. But then, the house, okay, you can also set up to be beneficiary designated or transfer on death. Okay. The wife doesn't go anywhere. If the husband dies first, the wife just gets the house. She lives there. It's her house already. If she dies, you can set up a transfer on death deed to the kids. So it avoids probate. All right. Then the savings account and the checking account at the bank can also be set up transfer on death to where they avoid probate. So in this scenario, this close-knit family, so to speak, that's, knows no blended family or anything like that, they really don't need a trust. They don't need a trust.
Real quick question for you. Where does the house, where do we sign that document that says transfer on death? So let's say to the kids. And here's where I'm going to comment. If you've got 2 kids and we're transferring the house to 2 kids on the death of mom, well, which one gets it? I see I'm already in the weeds with how are they going to split it?
Exactly. And it could be 50-50. It may not be 50-50. One kid may want to take the house. One kid may want to take the money. One kid may want to live in the house. One kid may want to take the money. One kid may want to, use the house as rental property. One kid may want to take the money. It's one of those things that's difficult to have, and maybe a conversation is warranted, with the kids at some point in time. Hey guys, you're going to leave against this house left behind. What do you guys think you're going to do with it? Right. And maybe mom and dad could even, put in their will that they wish for the house to be sold and the money to be split between the kids. I mean, that's possible. Right.
Yeah.
It's not directed. It's not a directive in that standpoint, but it is possible to have it set up that way. But my point is, I want people to understand that in this scenario, there's not a ton of estate planning to be done. And I think it would be a waste of money for these folks to go have a trust. I just do in this case. All right.
Okay.
Now, let's talk about what Spike talked about a minute ago. And this is kind of like in my own scenario. Okay. I know without a doubt, barring some type of accident, I'm going to outlive Callie. I love my wife. I think she's the most beautiful woman in the world. I worship the ground she walks on. And if I go meet my maker, before she does, I want her to continue to be happy. And if that is remarrying at some point in time and that sort of thing, yes, I'd like her to be heartbroken for a little while, a couple of days at least. But, if she decides to remarry, well, now I've got challenges, okay? Because I want her to live off the wealth we've created together, all right, and have, and maintain her lifestyle and be able to take care of Jack and Arya for sure, okay? But what I don't want is some unscrupulous person coming in and taking advantage of my wife and spending a bunch of my kids' money and her money, right? So in that scenario, now the family has become blended. And if this other person has his own kids, okay, now the situation becomes even more interesting because now, hopefully this person's successful. Him and Callie are going to start creating wealth together going forward, right? So now it just brings in this massive, problem, if you will, of like what happens to all this stuff if someone passes away, right? So that's an example of a need for a trust. So I think if you can kind of have a little test here, folks, if you've got, all your stuffs in accounts that can have TOD, property can be TOD if it's your residence, and your accounts are beneficiary designated, and you're single, you're one family, not a blended family, right? Then you're probably in good shape and don't need a trust. But the moment you start blending in another family or two families together, then it really becomes a good idea to have a trust. I have a client, sweet lady, never made more than $60,000 a year in her life. Blended family. Her second husband, had two kids. She's got three kids. And all of a sudden, she gets a call from his attorney out in West Texas saying, "You just inherited 1/16 of one of the largest oil families' reserves and capital in the history of West Texas." And all of a sudden, this lady's getting $6 million of liquid capital plus about $400,000 a month in oil royalties. But guess what? The other kids, the husband's kids, these kids don't want the husband's kids to get any money. They don't think they're entitled to it. Now, that's a big situation because if you don't think that at some point in time, even though it's separate property, and the second set of kids, the husband's kids, are not entitled to this money, that it's going to create infighting and issues. It is. It just simply is. And a trust document can really go. I mean, it could go even as far, Spike, that these kids that aren't going to get money could go out and hire an attorney and sue the kids that are getting money. And if they file a lawsuit against those kids getting money, guess what? The kids that are getting the money have to defend the lawsuit and still come out of pocket for legal fees that could take 2, 3, 4, 5 years longer to try to settle.
Yeah.
Right.
And that just because they disagree with one of my favorite things I've ever heard though in a trust. And I'm not sure what kind of trust this is. I don't know if you've ever heard of this, that if you actually sue the trust, you lose all of your rights to anything in there whatsoever. I don't know what the title on that is, and I'll do a little bit of research.
There's a specific clause that I do for the name at the moment here at the end of the show has escaped me, but it's out there, right? But Spike, here's the bottom line. Listen, folks, I hope you're listening to Spike and I tell real life stories of things we've experienced. Mm-hmm. What I'm hopeful of is that you have an estate plan, whether it's just a plain Jane beneficiary designations and will, with medical power of attorney, durable power of attorney, financial power of attorney, all those things. I hope you have that, okay? Or if you're getting more into the complex side of things, or have a bunch of property, or closely held business, or a blended family, all right? You need further estate planning, okay? And Allied Wealth's team can help guide you along that process. And I can't tell you the number of times I've had people come into my office when we start looking at things, and I say, hey, listen, are you aware that your trust document does not match your beneficiary designations? So what you wanted done in this trust is not actually going to happen. And people look at me like, oh my gosh, I had no idea, right? Folks, or if you don't have a plan at all, you need a plan, reach out to the show. We do this work for free. We don't charge you to review your stuff. Now, if we do have to build a trust for you, there's going to be a cost in that. That's not free. But reviewing the plan and helping you kind of devise a plan is free, all right? And you can get it right now by calling the show. It's 844-944-7555. Again, 844-944-7555. You can also text the word plan to the number 21,000. Again, text plan to 21,000. But folks, listen, above all else, if you want to keep your family unit intact after you go meet your maker, please have some type of an estate plan and make sure what's going to happen with the money actually happens with the money when you pass away.
Thank you so much for listening to On the Money with Ryan Wheelis. As he said, you can call the phone number right now. There are folks standing by who will schedule that appointment for you. It's not just about the investments or your taxes or your health care choices or your Social Security. The estate plan is about keeping your family together. Call 844-944-7555. Let's do your complete portfolio review at no cost to you. Or you can text us as well. Type in the word plan into the body of your text feature and just dial 21000. That's 21000. Hit send. For Ryan Wheelis, happy birthday, buddy. I'm Spike Spangle. We'll be back next week.